Hi, everybody. My name is Miriam from the Honest Talks, and I'd like to welcome you very warmly to this video. Recently, I did a webinar with a wonderful charity called the Female Lead on the topic of stress. And during that webinar and also afterwards, so many questions reached me from people who were being stressed about stress that I thought, hey, why not take those and give answers? And do I have all the answers? No. But do I have a lot of experience in what it feels like to be stressed and also to overcome it, to really use it as fuel to create a better life, a life that we love? Absolutely yes. So, Charis, you asked the question, how do you push yourself to achieve your best whilst managing stress level? And I want to thank you so much for this question. It's so relevant both for myself and I guess for everyone who's watching who really wants to achieve their best in life. I will share with you my Fab 5 on that topic. The first one is that if we don't feel we're good enough, nothing we ever do will be good enough. And I'll repeat that. If we don't feel we're good enough, nothing we ever do will be good enough. And if you think about it, if we're trying to achieve our best, but we're not even thinking we're enough, we're aiming for perfection. It's like running a race without a finish line. We'll be trying to prove our self-worth with everything that we do. And that is actually very stressful. What can we do against this? And I'm speaking from personal experience here. So the webinar that I mentioned on stress, it had over 700 live participants. By now, it has over 30,000 views on LinkedIn. And after it, there was this little chat with the hosts, and I pressed the hang up button. And the first thought that pops to my mind is, Miriam, you are such a disappointment. Wow. So how do you push yourself to achieve your best with that kind of internal dialogue? And I know that I'm not alone in this. So if you also have this critical harsh voice in your head, let me know in your comments. And the first thing to turn this around is to really get aware of it, because those thoughts, we're literally creating them ourselves, and no one tells us we can change it. And it's obviously not always easy to change it. It's also not always easy to catch it, but it's like shining a light of awareness in a dark cave. And kind of the more you put the light, the more you'll also see that actually you're in control. How to achieve feeling enough, that is obviously a lot longer topic than this short video. What really made the difference for me is I have on every single mirror in my house, I have written, I am enough. And I remind myself of that on a daily basis. And I praise what I'm doing well. And that really keeps me going. And what's also very helpful is obviously looking at where did it come from, but then also what can I do to change it? Because if we only look at the why, we're caught in this spiral, but we're not moving forward. And what is also very helpful to get this feeling of I'm enough is, it's a wonderful exercise. I learned it from Lisa Nichols. It's that you have 3 sentence stems and you have to give each stem 7 endings. So you stand in front of a mirror and you look yourself in your eyes, say your name, and the first one is, I'm proud of you that. So for me today, that would be, Miriam, I'm proud of you that you filmed this video. The second one, it's saying your name, looking at yourself and saying, I forgive you that. Now that one may bring you down. For me, and I talk about the cost of stress in my life in a lot more detail in that live event on stress, and I'll put the link to the recording below. For me, that meant for a very long time looking at myself in the mirror and saying, Miriam, I forgive you that you were so busy. you didn't realize your cat was dying. And then the third one is, what do you commit yourself to? So you say your name and you say, I commit to you that. Often we're so much better keeping commitments to anyone else apart from ourselves. If you ask me to be at a business appointment at 9 a.m., I will be there. If I have the plan to do something at 9 a.m. just for myself, not always the case. And I know I'm not alone in that. So you would say your name and you say, I commit to you that. And then the second thing we can do, big thing on the way of pushing ourselves to achieve our best, whilst also feeling good, whilst managing our stress levels, is developing a growth mindset. I can't talk about this enough. I discovered it in November last year and it was so exciting. So basically there's two ways to see the world. One is where you see your personality, your traits, talents, also intelligence as fixed. So either you have it or you don't. It's this idea of naturals. And then there's the way of seeing the world with a growth mindset, where actually anything, like your character, your intelligence, any skill is like a muscle that can be trained and developed. And then I guess it's pretty clear that, for example, if you believe, okay, you're not good at something, let's say I used to believe when I went to school, I'm not a math person, so I actually never tried. However, if you have this thinking of, okay, I can't do this yet, so what do I need to do now? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to ask for help? That will bring us a lot further, and that will also be a lot less stressful, because we're pushing ourselves to achieve our best, knowing that we can actually get there. And I really recommend the book Mindset by Carol Dweck on that topic. The third thing we can do to push ourselves to achieve our best whilst managing stress levels is to actually know where we're going. Do we have a clear vision of what we want to achieve and why? Personally, I can say I didn't for a long time. And then kind of everything that's happening in your life is like the standard you're going off on, it, you're chasing after. However, if we have this clear idea of, okay, where do I want to be in 5, in 10, in 20 years at the end of my life, that makes a real difference. And the fourth one kind of ties into that on a smaller level. It's that we need to have a plan, because if you've done step 3, so you know where you're going, what's your vision, what's your dream. If we don't have a plan to get there, how are we going to get there? So that would mean really using a time management system. And I have to admit personally, I hated this idea so much. I started the system, it's called the 12-week year. And by now I really love it because it ties this bigger vision to smaller chunks. So that's like where you schedule your time into blocks, where we plan, okay, what we want to do, because otherwise it may also, time planning in itself, it's just like, if you're just shifting around productivity, that's, at least to me, that's not very attractive. If I know, okay, what I'm working on right now is also going to bring me forward in the future, that's a whole different game. And I would say, if we're honest, most of us are not using our time to our best. So this question, okay, what are we doing to not achieve our goals? And I would say, for me, unfocused time and just like wasting time on social media or just going off on some random website, that costs me a lot of time. But now that I'm measuring my time, I know where things are going. And also if I see, okay, I have this dream, but I'm not putting in any actual time, then I also have the immediate feedback that I need to make changes. And there's like a million different systems. So you really need to find something that works for you. And what I would also say in the context of time planning is remembering to schedule breaks. And that leads me to the fifth and last point. When we want to push ourselves to achieve the best while managing stress levels, and this is something we so often forget, really, that we give ourselves time and permission to rest and have fun. You think about like this big plan or this goal that you have, the best that you want to achieve. If we think of that as a house we want to build, we need to have the foundations. We actually need to put the bricks and the mortar. Anything else that comes afterwards is optional. So the foundations, I have summarized them as SEAM, that's sleep, exercise, eating, and mindfulness. I mean, have you ever tried to be like world class when you're overwhelmed, hungry, and just exhausted? I can't do that. And I think that's very human, that we all need a certain level of just space to breathe. And also, so that's really the basics, the bricks, that space to breathe, and that kind of sleep, that eat good food, that walk around the block. And then the fun, that's like the mortar that holds everything together. And yeah, there may be people that can go long times without fun. However, how much longer can we go when we add in some fun? And I understand that there's sometimes situations that are objectively not fun, like being in the middle of a global pandemic, sorry, not fun. Or last year when, like basically in spring when Corona kicked in, I was terminated from my job for the fourth time in 2 years that happened. That was not fun. And then what I did is was like, okay, I'm literally going to reframe this situation. So obviously I was writing a ton of job applications. I was really trying hard to find a new job. But in the meantime, while I was doing the best I could, I said to myself, seriously, most people have as a dream to not work and get money in their bank account overnight. And obviously I live in a very privileged situation. I live in Germany where we do have an unemployment system. But rather than being like, oh, I'm such a loser, now I'm again without a job, etc., which wouldn't have changed anything anyway. I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to see that in a way of, you know, how great is this? I'm getting money overnight. And then again, let me emphasize that obviously I was trying to find a job. This was just while I was in that situation to really find where's the fun in it. And did that feel natural at the beginning? No. Did it change a lot of things? And did it actually open up the way for me to then find what I really want to do? Yes. And that's really, I think that only shows that how important it is when you want to achieve your best and manage stress level to also think about your rest and your fun. So let me summarize very quickly. The first one, my first top tip for pushing ourselves to achieve the best while managing stress is really knowing that we're enough. So that even if we mess something up or we fail at something, it's okay. We can still give ourselves unconditional love. The world keeps turning and we can just get up, move on, and learn from this. The second one is developing the growth mindset. And that is, from my own experience, I previously had a very fixed mindset in a lot of areas. This, okay, but how do I get up and learn from something? Because when it feels like you're lying on the ground, it's not that easy. So that's how we can do that, by knowing, okay, everything is like a muscle and we can train it. The third one is really knowing where we're going. So having a clear idea of what we want to achieve and why. And that also may not come instantly overnight. That may take time to develop. Fourth one is really the time planning. If we're very honest, a lot of us have habits that don't serve us, and we are not the most focused on the tasks that are most important. So having a clear system in place that really helps us. And for example, if you're like me, if you're like, oh, I'm a creative person, I don't like time planning, you can also schedule your creativity. And if you have actually a block of 2 or 3 hours where you know that you get to let your thoughts roam without disturbance, that will make a very big difference. And then the fifth, my favorite, is really giving ourselves the time to rest and have fun. So let me know, please, what was an aha moment? Or what's a strategy where you're like, that's something the world needs to hear? Post it in the comments below. And then I just want to send you a lot of love and good thoughts, and anything you want to achieve, you absolutely can. Bye.